This will be for the con exercise, number of solutions to systems of equations intermediate. Okay, so in this exercise, there is going to be 3 scenarios for each problem, or not necessarily for each problem, but in this exercise. Let's see, the first one, there is going to be one solution. Okay, the equations are going to have different slopes. Now, we're only dealing with equations here, not graphs, but graphically, this is what it would look like. The 2 lines have different slopes, and that point of intersection is the solution. If it's infinite solutions, it's going to be the same equation, and one equation may be a multiple of the other. Okay, again, graphically, it's going to be the same line on top of itself. But we're not dealing with the graphs at all, just the equations. And finally, scenario number 3 is no solution. It's going to be the same slope, but different equations. And the lines will look like this. Basically, they're going to be parallel. All right, so you want to remember one solution, different slopes. Infinite solutions is the same equation. And no solution is the same slope, but different equations. Okay, the given system has no solution. Here's the 2 line equations. Find the value of k. So remember, we said no solution. That means it has the same slope. All right, same slope as long as it's not the same equation. So right here, we want to get these equations in the form of y equals mx plus b. And remember that m is a number that's times x, and m is your slope. All right. So basically, if we get this into the y equals form, we can easily find the slope. So we want y on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side. Well, on this first equation, on the right-hand side, we have a 0, we have a negative y. If we can just get this y over here, we have it in this form. So since this is negative y and we want positive y, we can just add y to both sides. All right, the opposite of negative y is plus y. All right. All right, so I erased the bottom equation for now, just so I can do this vertically. Okay, bring down your 3x. Y, negative y plus y cancels. Bring down your positive 2. Bring down your equal sign. And 0 plus y equals y. All right, so let me rewrite this over here so I can leave it permanently. Y equals 3x plus 2. And we said the slope is m, the number that's times x. So right here, we see that the slope m equals 3. All right, now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom equation. All right, let's do the same thing we did on the top equation so we can get it in the same form. Over here, we added y to both sides, so same thing here. I'm going to get y on this side of the equal sign. All right, we have plus ky. I'm going to do the opposite, and that's minus ky. I'm going to do that to both sides of the equal sign. Okay. So bring down your 3x, ky minus ky cancels, bring down your negative 6, and 0 minus ky is going to give us negative ky. All right, so if we match this equation with this one here, we have negative ky equals 3x minus 6. All right, and once again, slope is the number that's times x. So our slope is clearly 3. Now, the final step here, we have to solve for k. So we have these two equations in the same form. We have the same slopes, 3 and 3. So we just have to match up the y's. This is y equals, and this has to be y equals. Remember, if there is no number or coefficient in front of the variable, it's automatically a 1. So we want this to match right here. We want the negative k equal to 1. Right? We already have the y's match. We just need the coefficients to match. So negative k equals 1. All right? So if you want to get rid of that negative sign, just do times negative 1 on both sides. Negative 1 times negative k is positive k, and 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So that's it. Final answer. That makes sense, right? We said negative k equals 1. So if you just change the sign on both sides, k equals negative 1. That's all we did. So just click in the box and type negative 1. The given system has infinite solutions. Find the value of k. So we said in the notes in the beginning, infinite solutions, it's going to be the same equation. All right, we said it's the same equation for infinite solutions, but it's a possibility that one equation is a multiple of the other one. All right, now just looking at this equation, it's very easy to see what's going on. These have to be the same equation, but one could be a multiple of the other. Well, how do we get, in terms of multiplication, how do we get from 3x to 6x? Well, clearly, that is just times 2. Now, let's make sure that's the correct pattern. How do we get from negative 5y to negative 10y? Well, clearly, that's just times 2. So now, how do we get from 15 to k? Well, clearly, it's just times 2. All right, and if we do 15 times 2 equals k, 15 times 2 is 30. So that's k. Now, in some cases, you may have to divide, okay, or multiply by a fraction, like times a half. That's the same as divided by 2, times a third is the same as divided by 3. So see how to get from one equation to the other in terms of multiplication or division. All right, just click in the box and enter 30. The given system has a unique solution. All right, for unique solution, we said the lines have to have different slopes. All right, different slopes. So k can take all real values except, well, what was the opposite? Remember the other two scenarios other than unique solution. Other than different slopes, the thing they can't have is the same slope. All right. So k can be anything except whatever would make these equations have the same slope, because for unique solutions, you need different slopes. All right, so let's find the slope. Now, remember for slope, you want the equation in the form of y equals mx plus b in order to get the slope. All right, and the slope m is the number that's times x. So in order to find the slope, we basically have to solve for y. All right, let's do the bottom equation first. Actually, I'll do the top one first. Let's solve for y and get it into this form. All right, so we want y on one side by itself. Here we have negative 2y. I'm going to bring this to the right, and I'm going to bring the 8 to the left. All right, so negative 2y, the opposite is positive 2y. I'm going to do that to both sides. And also, since the y is over here, I'm going to get the 8 over here. So I'm going to do minus 8 to both sides. Okay, so 4x minus 8 is over here. We can't combine those terms. Those are not like terms. So it's just 4x minus 8. Negative 2y plus 2y cancels. Bring down the equal sign. 8 minus 8 cancels. And bring down your 2y. Solving for y, this is y times 2. The opposite of times 2 is divided by 2. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. All right, make sure you divide this whole thing by 2. Right here, 2 divided by 2 cancels. And now each of these terms is divided by 2. So basically, we have y equals, okay, and remember each of these is divided by 2. So we have 4x divided by 2. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. And negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So the slope is right there. That's your slope m, and that equals 2. All right, now the bottom equation, same thing. We want to solve for y so we can get our slope. All right, so we have a positive y here. Let's just get the kx on the other side. Here we have positive kx. The opposite is negative kx. All right, we could do that to, whoops. We could do that to both sides. All right, kx minus ax cancels. Bring down your positive y. Bring down the equal sign. And here we have 2 minus kx. All right, so y equals 2 minus kx. But I want to match these equations together. So instead of writing 2 minus kx, I'm going to write the negative kx first. And then plus 2 on the end. All right, so all I did was reverse these terms so it would match the other line. And now you can see here, slope is the number that's multiplied by x, so the slope is just negative k. Now remember, the unique solution, they have to have different slopes. If they had the same slope, then they would not have a unique solution, and that's what they're asking. So we want to make them have the same slope, and we're just going to make the slopes match. 2 equals negative k. And just like before, if negative k equals 2, then k is going to be negative 2. Just change the plus minus sign on both sides. If you don't see what I did there, pretend there's a negative 1 right here in front of this k. If you just multiply both sides times negative 1, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, and negative 1k times negative 1 is positive k. So that's your final answer. All right, negative 2 right in the box. All right, last one, I'll just give you the hint. The given system has no solution. What did we say about no solution? Same slope, different equation. All right, so basically, find the slopes of each of these equations and set them equal to each other. Okay, remember it has to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. And then the slope is the number that's times x.